Hello, friends. So we are in shoulder land. There will be a video that is a wall stretch for the shoulders and the chest. And in this one, I want to do a little more strengthening. It will still end up stretching the area, but the focus will be on strength, and we will get the stretch out of it, where the other one was about the stretch and us finding stability during stretching. So if you have a D-ring, you definitely want to strap for this work, right? You're going to move it through the two holes, right? If you don't know, I just do strap 101 because a lot of people don't know these. They're not used to working with them, right? Let the rings separate. You'll go over the last one you went through and under the first one you went through, and that should give you a strap that you can tighten but won't loosen. You're going to try to have that strap be about from the edge of your shoulder to the edge of your shoulder. You can always go wider, especially if you're working with shoulder injuries or sensitivities or anything like that, right? And then from there, right, we're going to start on our feet. So from your feet, just standing up nice and tall, I'm going to put it around one shoulder or one wrist in my hand, and then come behind and both wrists will go through it. So I'm turning my palms towards the midline or towards one another, right? I'm standing up nice and tall. My feet are hip distance, all the usual suspects. Knees are pointing straight forward, right? I'm putting a little bit of weight in my heels so I find my tall spine. So many of the things that we usually do. But the focus is the upper back, right? So I want you to go ahead and I want you to bend your elbows a little bit. And they want to go wide for most of us, right? So now move your elbows back until your elbows are at least distant, the shoulders distance apart, and maybe they move in just even a little bit, so you just find the shoulder blades gently moving towards each other, retraction. Now try to maintain that even as you straighten your arms down. You can keep them bent if the shoulders don't know how to keep that and maintain that with straight arms. That's okay, that's quite a few bodies, right? And then we're going to add our strength in this way today. Now without the ribs flaring out, right? Keep that containment of your low belly and your low ribs. Push out into the strap at, let's say, about 30%. Don't go too far with that. And I still keep myself nice and tall. Hopefully my spine has not been affected by that. My spine is in its elongated neutral position. But as I push out into that strap, these muscles between my shoulder blades start to turn on and pull my shoulder blades in towards one another. Again, that is called retraction. It's one of the four motions of the shoulder blades, the scapula. Right? When I use fancy terms, don't be intimidated by it. There's not a pop quiz. Hopefully you just start to know this stuff because I say it enough. That's how I learned it. Well, I learned a lot of it in trainings and definitely doing studying, but more than studying it out of a book, it was hearing it again and again from teachers, right? And you're still pushing into it at about 30–35%. So not extreme, right? Don't go extreme pushing in, just enough so you feel those muscles engage. And then go ahead and release that, let that go. You can put the strap down for a little bit. We'll come back to it. So I want to go into one more move. I should have probably taken this sweater off. Please give me a moment while I transition. I'm dealing with my microphone a little bit too. So when you move into this next piece, right, I want to look at the shoulder blades, right? We just were here, and as we moved out into that strap, my shoulder blades retracted in towards one another, yeah? So now when you bring your right arm up, you're going to bring your right hand up and you're going to bring it onto the arm like you're patting yourself on the back, onto your arm, onto your shoulder. The left hand's coming across and it's grabbing onto that right arm. It can be lower or it might grab the elbow. Now I'm going to move that right elbow in towards the face or that arm, and I'm going to rotate it up. And the hand is secondary, right? There, you just let it go wherever it goes. And from that place, I'm going to see if I can't find that length coming from this, right? This area, the latissimus dorsi area. And I'm going to try and keep my upper trap, right? My upper trapezius out of it. And I'm just going to take a breath from there without my ribs flaring. I keep that containment. AKA, whenever I talk about keeping the containment of the front body, I'm just saying keep your elongated neutral spine, right? Most of us lose that when the arms go overhead. And then go ahead and release that right arm all the way down. Again, I'm going to show you from the back side. I'm going to bring that left arm up and pat myself on the back. My right hand's going to come across and grab my left arm. I move it into the face first, and then I reach it up towards the sky. Be cautious of the ribs moving, or the thoracic spine thrusting forward, I could say. And see if you can't find this length coming from this area of the body and not from this area, right? And just take a breath from there. And release that arm down. So now we're going to come down onto our belly, and we're going to do two similar things from our belly. So have your strap on standby. Come all the way down to your belly. You know, use beautiful, beautiful awareness so that you don't damage low backs or any of that kind of stuff on your way down. And then from there, you're going to take that strap. So think locust pose. You're going to take the strap onto your wrists, palms face each other, and it's behind my back. So we need to stabilize the spine. Push the feet down, the thighs lift, the tailbone moves down, the low belly pulls up towards the crown of the head, right? All that stuff. And then let your feet stay down, by the way. Let your shoulders start to lift up, and let that lift your head and your chest. Now bend your elbows a little bit. Notice they want to go wide and the shoulders want to drop down, right? I have yet to see a body where that's not the case. You can ask it not to, for sure. And then let the elbows move up and in. Let that roll your shoulder heads up to the sky. Keep your belly toned in, my flexies, right? And then from there, maybe the arms straighten. And then at 30%, push out into the strap. It's not about how high you go ever with me, but especially not why we're doing this work, right? If you lift up, it's because the shoulder blades retract, right? And I get really long. I don't look forward with my chin or my eyeballs. I reach forward with the crown of the head. Now keep that belly gently toned up. Move your thighs into an imaginary block, and maybe the feet lift up about an inch or two, and then get longer. But of course, the main action I'm curious about today is that upper back, and we're finding that by pushing out about 30 to 35% into the strap. Take another breath. Go ahead and come on down, release the strap off, put it to the side. Bring your arms forward into a version of crocodile, Makarasana, right? I have a fist under my head just so that my voice hopefully is still audible and not muffled. Now, go ahead and reach your arms out in front of you. And now this is that second one we started to look at, right? From our feet. So I want you to try to turn your thumbs towards each other, palms down initially. And then just to find more of that external rotation in the upper arm, turn your thumbs up to the sky and turn your palms to face each other, right? And hopefully that helps those arms externally rotate. Those shoulders can soften down away from your ears. Let's prep the body. Press the feet down. The thighs are going to lift, right? Move your thighs into that block. I bet you feel your belly tone up. Keep those ribs from flaring. And you might just stay right here. You might pull the fingers back, the pinky fingers, a little bit and come up just a touch, right? And it's not so much that I'm trying to pull my arms all the way back as my shoulders are lifting, as if they would if my arms were by my side, right? And then from there, you might feel like this is plenty for you. Keep everything we've called out so far, but add in maybe right arm and left leg. Lift a little bit. And bring that down. Again, left arm, right leg. And bring that down. Pause. I know you want to do more. Trust me, I know. The latissimus dorsi. We get our length out of the latissimus dorsi area. We soften the upper trap. So check in. Make sure that's still happening. When we start to lift, we often go into the upper traps. One more time. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Go slow and keep the upper traps out of it. Bring them down. We're retraining the body and how to lift and reach the arms overhead, right? Left arm, right leg. And if your upper traps have done it for decades, it takes an awful lot of patience. Let the elbows go wide. Bring the forehead down. Let go of everything and just soften and notice. Now let's do one more strength, I guess, and then we'll do one more stretch. So go ahead and just turn yourself over onto your back. Feet are on the ground with the knees bent. You're going to use the strap once your hips are lifted up into bridge, and of course it's going to just go back to what we've already been doing, right? So just have the strap on standby, so you're going to be able to grab it. Go ahead and push into the feet. Roll up one vertebrae at a time. Rock your shoulders underneath you a little bit, and then see if you can't get your wrists into that strap again. So we're in a different position of gravity, but it's a lot of the same stuff, right? So move your thighs into imaginary block. Frontal hip points, tone up. Those ribs, don't let them flare. And then we're going to move out into that strap at about 30-35%. If all you feel is your belly burst up to the sky, maybe don't go quite so far in. Tone the belly a little more, right? I'm hoping what you feel is you feel your shoulder blades retract and pull in towards each other. And take another breath. Hopefully the low back stays really long, or as long as it can in this particular position. And release the strap. Roll down one vertebrae at a time. And then just to give those shoulder blades a stretch the other way, since they have been working inward this whole time for us, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give ourselves a hug. And my microphone is right there, so I'm not going to hug all the way in. You might get that forearm interlaced towards eagle arms. You might just simply hug the body, right? And then normally the elbows are on the chest. You might lift the elbows up a little bit. Again, I already am just because of my microphone. Soften the shoulders, the upper traps, away from the ears. And just breathe. If the right arm is on top or closer to the face, we'll say, chances are good you're feeling your right upper trap area stretching. But if you're feeling it somewhere else, if it's pinching pain, get out, right? Uncross, recross with your left arm closer to your face and maybe just simply hugging. Maybe you do the interlace. Again, I usually am further down, but I'm trying to avoid my microphone. So you might lift those elbows up a little bit so they're more in line with the shoulders. And breathe. And then go ahead and tee those arms out, palms up, walk your feet wide. Let the knees rock to the right, back to the center and to the left. So for many, many bodies, because the low back is more flexible than the upper back, the low back will end up doing a lot of the trying to do the opening of the upper back, while the upper back never actually opens that much. So this is just to say, hello low back, in case I compromised you or went you further than I meant to. I just want to give you a little love. Come back to center, keep the feet wide, let the knees lean in. If your heels are way back towards your hips, you might walk them a little further forward so they're in line with the knee or in front of them. Bring your arms down to a 45, turn the palms up, right? Shoulder blades down the back, but they're in the Goldilocks position. So don't shove them all the way into each other. Don't shove them all the way down to the buttocks. Find that place right in between all four of the motions of the shoulder blade. Hopefully low floating ribs can still soften down to the earth, right? If your chin is jutting up to the sky, you might put a blanket underneath so you have a little support for your neck. And then once you find that place where you can soften in here, including the hips and the shoulders, of course. Eyes closed, just take a couple of moments and just let the body digest what we just did. So the upper back is less mobile, right, than the low back or the neck because it has ribs connected to it. But add to that we spend a lot of our time in this flexed position, this rounded forward position, and the muscles get really used to holding that position of the body. And so then when we're asking that to move the opposite direction, for the muscles to shorten, for the upper back to lengthen, that's a big transition. So let's go ahead and let's walk our feet into hip distance. Lift the hips, sit on your wrists, palms down or forearms, whatever you got. We're going to come up teeter-totter, reach the heels up. As the heels reach down, you push into the elbows. Come into an upright posture for just a moment here. And as you sit up nice and tall, maybe not, right? Different days, different things, different bodies, different things, all the stuff. But maybe instead of being in that rounded position, maybe we can sit up a little taller with a little more ease. I personally, right, would sit up higher so my hips are the height of my knees or higher. And then my pelvis can really start to move into that position with ease. Bring the hands together in front of the chest. Inhale. Exhale, bow your head in. Just taking a moment of gratitude for your space and your time that you gave yourself, to yourself for showing up, etc. Right? Inhale and lift the head. Exhale, bring the hands down. And one more little thing before we say namaste. Of course, you can tune out if you need to, but been talking a little bit about there's this muscle that runs through what I call the inner armpit, and it likes to activate on a lot of folks. And so I've been working a lot with people trying to figure out how to release that muscle. And I would say the first thing to just notice, maybe not, should you, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is when you go to lift or do things, right, drive your car, just bring your awareness into that muscle and notice if that muscle is engaged and trying to help you do that. Notice that when it is, more often than not, the shoulder blades are pulled into what's called protraction. So if we slide our shoulder blades down our back, it doesn't have to be extreme. We don't have to be, all right, we're just coming into that Goldilocks position. Does that allow this muscle to let go, right? So that you don't have so much tension in it. And these, by the way. I don't know. Maybe not. Namaste.